All right, guys. So happy Sunday. It's a new week. Here are some of the things that we're looking at for this upcoming week. Number one, I want to always emphasize the fact that when we're looking at structure and we're looking at setups, we don't want to just focus only on intraday lower time frame setups. We have to understand behaviors on higher time frames as well. Mainly the 4 hour structure, daily structures when they do find their way into these demand areas or supply areas, they have their way of reversing. Sometimes you don't quite see it yet. Sometimes it might take another day or another session, but eventually you'll catch on that once price hits a 4 hour demand, you need to prepare yourself to take a trade, give it a little breathing room, and give it time. Give it about, you know, a few hours, typically, like 2 hours, 3 hours. Sometimes they might immediately reverse. In this case, this is what happened here. What you always have to be reminded of is the fact that once you spot the 4 hour structure, and this is where the potential reversal area is, you got the 15-minute and the 5 minute to anticipate the reversal, especially if prices changing, if the market is changing from one session to the next. You can see a sell off here. Okay, you missed it. No problem. Now that it made it to the 4 hour demand, you drop down to the 15 and the 5 typically, and then you wait on the small structure to catch a really good entry that's going to at least, if you can't hold too long, a structure like that, you catch it off the 15 and the 5, you can hold till 12. You're gonna get a really good outcome out of it. And that's just the first part of the structure's outcome. Because typically they'll most likely continue to find higher structures. So you catch a 4 hour trade, you catch a 4 hour entry. One, this is a setup you might be willing to hold for the whole entire session. Two, even if they pull back, you can also have another entry opportunity for it to continue the road. So it's not only important for you to understand 4 hour structure behavior, but once you spot it, in order for you to keep yourself from panicking about what to do, better to scale, right? Because you know you got time to add positions and add positions. That'll help with greed, Harold. You got to focus on the specifics. You're like, you know what? If I know this trade gonna take a 20-hour flight time from Louisiana to Dubai, then sit back, relax, recline in bars and add a couple entries little by little. $1, $1, $1, or one lot, one lot, one lot, or 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents, 0.01, 0.01, 0.01, because you know in the next few hours, this is the outcome. By 2 p.m., you lit. Okay, the next day, price pulls back, add in some more positions. Sometimes this is where I messed up at. I was thinking price was going to pull back even more, not realizing that this is coming from a 4 hour structure, Hans. The next thing they probably going to do is just sweep Asia and continue higher. I fucked up. I fucked up, right? That's why I hate, honestly, going out of town lately. I just want to lock in, you know? I just want to lock in because information is so important. And when you miss out, this is one of the things I hate about Savage Hans. When I'm in Savage mode, I get comfortable with the big lot sizes. And when I'm in the lead, I also got to learn to like slow down, scale down in case I take a big L. And grieving the loss, which puts a stain in the streak or the momentum that you had. So like you got to learn to low key just build back, build back, build back. It's not easy, but it builds resilience, it builds confidence, painful confidence, and really proving to yourself that you can overcome and you can recover under the right circumstances is not and not with greed, not with anger, like just finding these classic setups that can help us to recover and win the month. Okay? These are very important conversations, guys. We all know structure, we all know, you know, how to identify charts, but what to do with our emotions when it's not too good of a week or we made mistakes that we knew we shouldn't have made. It's painful, but gotta find a reason to keep going. Got to um uh, find something out of the season of loss to make a lesson out of it so we could either become better and really be more aware that we can't fuck up this bad like that. Does that make sense, guys? Money be coming in too fast. Like I'm not gonna hold y'all by 9:36 on Wednesday before the bullshit. I caught this sell right here. The joint was so beautiful. I made 10 racks in 17 minutes. I was up 23 grand for the month. And I can only share this shit with y'all because I don't I hate posting about profits to be honest. Because it's really not yours until it hits your bank account. It's not yours until you move it out. And it almost feels like bad luck just talking about how you did this, how you made profits. Like better to like talk about how you made money after that shit is shipped and sailed from the trading account to your bank account or to your crypto wallet. Okay. Um, Now let's move over to the transitions of the technical analysis. Why do I think gold is going to keep buying? Price broke structure. We pulled back, pulled back, pulled back. We look into the left, we can see this area seems like a strong zone. We can see that um, to the left, there was many reasons why price pulled back in here. I personally want this structure to be solid because that's one of the setups that I've been waiting on, and I'm anticipating to help me with recovery this week. Now, is the market gonna freaking break past this area? I hope so. I hope so. I see a lot of rejections, and lately we all know like these areas of rejections can sometimes be misleading. We get to these areas rejections many times and it just won't break it. But I'm hoping with everything going on that the market still finds its way to buy towards 33.90. This structure just looks like it's ready to finally buy towards supply, if not more, if not more. Not too long ago, a few months ago, I remember hearing that like when crypto is moving, so is gold. I hope that I hope that that theory works this time. Let's check some fundamentals. I see Donald, courtesy of Jaquel, already had some just in conversations. Worst Federal Reserve chairman in history. If that man don't chill, I swear he really got like a group chat with his boys. All right, boys, the market just opened. I'm gonna say some bullshit. You know how it goes. The Donald is back. We're running. We're in profit. Like, what the
I'm
fuck?
like, no, I really thought he was doing stuff like this on purpose because he made a tweet and I put it in a chat also the other day, like last week sometimes. Yeah, I can make the market go up and down. Like, go
Yeah.
down, man. Sit
Like,
down.
bro, come on. We get it. You're the big
Honestly.
guy. Like, chill, son.
Uh-huh.
Oh, damn. Always
Taking
wild.
advantage.
Yeah, like it's not funny. Um, yeah, honestly, like it's just it really gets annoying. And I just want to keep it real with y'all by letting you guys know that it's not always easy to walk away, but having a routine and what to do after and embracing every bit of the part where we realize that yes, we make money in a very short time. The mind can sometimes do things to self-sabotage, and you don't know it's greed to the greed itself helped give back every dollar to the market. You don't know it's greed till that shit is helping the market make its money back. That's a new quote that I came up with this afternoon. You know? So just take the money, walk away. Like I am not above the things that I say. I just do the best that I can to walk in the discipline that I aspire to maintain. But it gets really tough when you're like making great profit. It's very, very tough. Like, when they say, um, the higher you go, the easier it is to like really fall from grace. It's true. It's very sensitive. So I'm not above anyone here, but just know there are consequences in taking big losses. We got to cut them short, and we have to really wait under the shirt opportunities to create our recovery plans. Okay. Now, this looks pretty promising, along with the fact that this was Friday's London. So even if maybe they come back to sweep London or something like that from Friday, I hope they really maintain this structure. Makes me want to pull out a fib real quick. I see the chat. What's the chat saying? Last week was very bad for me. Yeah, Brody. Shit ended up terrible for me too, fam. It's tough. Like Wednesday really changed it up for me entirely. And I know this is 100% my fault. But yeah. I remember Natish texted me. He saw a setup and oh shit. And this was the setup we're gonna talk about. When the market on Monday swept the 4 hour low, this was a very simple setup. By New York, we knew exactly what we was gonna do. We was gonna take the buy because it retested London. Once the market sweeps the 4 hour low, up and away it goes for a minimum of 20 hours. So it gives you a time as an intraday trader just to take your trade, By 12 p.m., you're done. You can't even hold the rest until the end of the day. So it pretty much made it above Friday's highs, and then they couldn't break above it. So by Tuesday, they tried to retest London and New York. They couldn't. This was a it was a sell. But then by Wednesday, price broke structure here, pulled back, and this was around when I took the buy. And then Trump opened his mouth, and this shit sold. And now I was already anticipating maybe price to retest July demand zones from the beginning of July and the end of June. And that's what they did. So once I stopped trying to take sells that I thought was going to keep selling, I was like, oh crap, you know what? It looks like the market wants to buy back off this rejection. So I took the buys. I didn't hold too much, but this was good. The next day, this setup pretty much swept below Asia. And then the same break and retest that happened the day before was a lot more cleaner now that there was nobody opening their mouths. The market played out exactly as it should. Now, it's a brand new week. Let's talk about Friday as well. Friday, price basically was buying, but it broke structure here. And then they swept London and they pulled back to make this higher low retest. We start in the new week and they already respected this area. And the structure is kind of weird, but we can tell like if they respect in this area here, is chances that they're gonna keep going up. But this is not a structure that I'm used to. But we can all tell right now that price did respect 4 hour low. And that's good enough for us to understand what the potential direction will be. Once price retests the 4 hour lows, up and away we go. So whether it's a retracement in New York or a retracement in London, until further notice, we will consider this a bullish structure. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm just seeing while Wero said I took losses back to back. Yeah, bro, it was tough, man. Yeah, like I'd rather him not talk like that. I rather a president that doesn't interfere with the markets as Trump does. If you're gonna talk about the markets as a president, just be mindful, bro. Like, come on. But then again, anybody who's a trader will complain about these markets. Anybody who's an investor will see dips and they'll just buy more shares. So it doesn't really bother them. We just always got to deal with the small details. Small details. Now, as I said, I'm looking at gold to continue. It's very early in wow, it's 8:22 p.m. It's already started to look like they want to continue to the upside. Also a This is also a 4 hour structure retracement that seems like it wants to continue buying. So looking to see if within the next 24 hours, not even 24 hours, by the time London pulls up, I want to see where we at. By the time New York pulls up, I want to see how we continue. Let's also talk about many times New York does give its reversal. Like, yeah, price might be buying, but New York is starting to do its 2021, 2022 behavior, just like retracing. London buys, New York retraces. For gold, that is. So I also got to be mindful of that, especially if I'm looking for continuations and then they pulling back and now I got to be in drawdown, you know? Which is why, like, you'll see pre-New York sells and then New York buys. You'll notice 8:30, beautiful sell-off. Don't stay in these sells once price gets to the rejection areas. When you see a long Mendingo wick to your left, do not expect them to break it. I hate that I'm saying this, but it's the truth. I got reference for y'all. Let me show y'all something. So this is me. When was this? Believe it was Wednesday. Nah. What date? What date did this say? Um, this was July 8th. Notice the wick on the left. I caught this crazy entry and I said, oh, we capitalizing heavy, B. And my TP was right under this wick. Let me play with you real quick. Let me play for y'all real quick. What happened next? As you guys can see, price is selling well. I'm in profit. I'm fluctuating. I'm waiting for price to make it to destination. As we can see, it plays around with it, plays around with it. Up 3K, up 4K. All right, it's going. Man, ain't nothing like situations like these where after the fact you're asking yourself, damn, why didn't I close? Damn, why didn't I just see 4K and just close it? It don't really be about that for real. It be about where the intended direction is heading. But as we can see, instead of going down, many times when price comes across these areas where it was like a long rejection wick, instead of continuing the path to the downside, they'll just reject it, which can throw you off. And this is not the first or last time this happened. Same situation here. Different date, the 17th of July. Notice how I'm taking the same trade. Oh, I was hoping I pushed it down to the side. Okay, it was the same trade. Let me close that. It's not what I wanted to show y'all. There it is right here. The 16th. Price sold. Instead of selling, they reversed. So we got to be careful about these areas of rejection because they're very misleading. Very misleading. Don't try and force it. They don't really push past it. All right. So that's why, like, even when I'm seeing areas like this, I'm very skeptical because of what happened before. So what do I need to do? In moments like that, you have to learn to close your trades, close majority of the partials. Better safe than sorry. Okay. Another thing is lately, as long as the market opens on Sunday by 7 or 8, the structure is already on go. So at this point now, even Sundays, you can be off to early start if you see the setup the way it is. If the setup looks right, Sunday could be a starter day. I know back then it wasn't the case, but now things have adjusted, so we have to adjust as well. This is why, like, typically I don't hold trades past the weekend, but in this particular case, I did. Um, I had positions at 33.54, 33.51, and recently 33.47, just because of how price looked like it was just gonna pull back in here. And I've been hoping once it opens that we start seeing healthy buys back up. So this actually makes me very content in seeing how prices respecting structure. All right, I think I've said enough and I've covered all bases about gold. Let's move back into US 30. I think prices respecting the structure and everything looks to be going according to the way structure is supposed to be. Do we get in now? At your own discretion, I think if we're going to go conservative, the stop loss would have to be placed below Friday's lows. All right, but ideally, if there's a retracement, it'd be a lot more convenient for entries for buys. Do I think price is gonna sell off? Nah, I think we only make these decisions if they break below the 4-hour structure lows. If not, stick to your buys. GBP USD. GBP USD was a mess. I remember catching buys on Wednesday, and I'm so glad I listened to myself and closed. Because as soon as I did, 3 seconds later, no cap, 3 seconds later, price pulled right back into range. And ever since then, they have not really looked too good. Now, in this particular week that's starting, I believe by London, we could still see buys. We could still see buys. Yeah, like when it comes down to holding positions that you believe in, that used to play, really pay you. Nowadays, they really just playing you, just playing you. Why did Waweru take the trade? Well, he saw a 4-hour structure low, and he was getting ready to hunt. Nothing wrong with that. But when these guys are fucking around with the markets, you just gotta go in, take the trade, and deal with the trauma that came after a good structure setup that you didn't learn to see for years. And now you out here just not trusting it anymore. And that's why it's very tough in these market conditions. Don't lose hope in the setup that you know. Shit does happen though, but it doesn't mean the setup is no longer a good setup. It's just the market conditions are not adjusting accordingly. And you want to know why I'm making this statement? Just to remind you not to change strategies. Don't change strategies because if out of 100 times the setup has worked 97 times, just because it didn't work out 3 times doesn't make it invalid. Y'all hear me? Don't make that mistake. Just follow up and see how the conditions are doing little bit by bit. Be like, all right, it's a new week. Let's see what y'all doing. Because at the end of the day, How this structure is going to work is if they sweep the bottom or they break and retest and we follow through. And if it keeps playing dumb games, then yeah, you just limit your attempts. Yeah. Shit is not for the weak, bro. It's not for the weak. I can see why dudes on Wall Street do coke. Oh man. Not to indulge, not to condone. All right, so gold seems to be picking up its footing, which is good. I need that. We need that. So let's see if GU is going to follow suit in the next hours. Let's start looking at other pairs that some of you guys typically like to look at. I'm sorry, GJ is doing its typical range for 200 pips, buy, find its supply zone, return back inside the range. So, like I've been saying for weeks, you catch a nice GJ buy, make sure you catch it off of a really good demand zone. But plan to make your exit around the supply zones. No ifs, buts about it. Okay. Yeah, if the markets are looking like that, then yeah, I want to see what GU does. Let's check EU. Same stuff, same stuff. Just the areas that EU and GU like to be subtle about is when by 8 a.m. price will just retest or sweep London, and then by 8:30 or 9, they start to actually buy. So you just gotta follow up with your peer. You gotta know its behaviors, its tendencies. Zipquil, I know exactly what you're doing. The little tap. Yo, that's funny. The little tap. Mm-hmm. Yo, that's funny. Yeah, so for those early birds, the moms, the dads, where my boy at? Where my boy at? Oh, he just left. The dads. You trading pairs like GU and EU, catch your setup by 8, 9, and hey, you good. You good to go. Let's talk about the dollar index. Dollar index, uh, I don't know if I think price is making its way back to the supply zone so it could sell off a little bit more. This is what the structure has been given. Dollar will buy, make it to supply, sweep, sell back down. On a daily structure, we saw that the dollar made it to 96. It's been a while since it touched 96. The last time we did that was in 2022. So I think the dollar is definitely decreasing in value on purpose just to make it a little bit more cheaper for international trades. Which is why I've been so steadfast about gold buying, but they don't just buy. They pull back, they do their thing. So, we got to be careful not position traders or just swing traders, intradays, and scalpers. So, but when you catch a nice setup off the 4 hour, you got to hold. You got to hold. 4 hour structure is gas. Blank, point blank period. All right. So NAS 100. Oh, the US 10 year. I got you, bro. Nas is Nas is looking exactly like everything else. But here's what I want to let y'all know too. These manipulations, they will touch the demand and still buy back. So if you get caught up in some nasty manipulations, if you're not risking too much, I suggest you really pay attention and hold the line. Like try and hold the position and see if price is not gonna buy back. Let's go and check the US 10 year yields. What did you want to tell us about the 10 year, fam?
Coach,
Yes.
yeah, long time ago, I used to only think about the DXY when I'm trading gold, but recently, since Trump like doing this Trump stuff, I noticed
Trump
that
stuff.
yeah, I noticed that gold is not really following DXY. So I make some research and I find out that gold is negatively correlated to the USD. So, yes, but sometimes it's not that. It's not only about that.
Right.
So the US 10 year bond say a lot about it. The more it's higher, the more they it say a lot about the next interest rate cut if they're gonna cut it. So it say a lot about the sentiment of the psychology of the market, and that's why gold move the most.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm trying to put it on my list when I'm
On your
trading.
radar.
Yeah, but I'm not like using it like I'm not good at it yet, but I'm trying. I'm trying to understand it.
Yes, understood.
Yeah.
You made a good point. So, the 10 year bonds, basically, for those who don't know, right? 10 year bonds are money that the US government borrows from 10 year bond holders. There are 3 year notes, there are 2 year notes, and I think there's a 1 year note too. I'm not sure. I think 3, 5, 10. Those are typically the ones, right? So the higher the interest, the more money people make. But notes or bonds, a lot of people like to invest in them because the government is giving them back money with interest. And since it's the government, the government always has to pay back its debts by the time the 2 year or 3 year or 5 year comes around. But when the interest rates are higher, people get paid higher. If the interest rate is 3.5 or 5.5, they getting back 5.5% off of the money that they let the government borrow. Now, when I gotta go back and revise my lessons. All I know is this, and we could check ChatGPT real quick. All I know is this too is like if things get too high, like if the interest rates get too high, then some people start to like uh be weary of whether the bonds are going to stay the same. So let's go ahead and take a quick little look at Chat GPT. But what I do also know about gold too is like when there's uncertainty, they move a lot of money from stocks, from stocks and bonds to gold. So it's not always just about the strength of the dollar. So let's write to chat what correlation does gold have with 10-year bonds, the 10-year bond market? Okay. Gold and US 10-year bond often show an inverse correlation, but this relationship isn't fixed. It varies depending on broader macroeconomics. And here's a breakdown. Rising 10-year yields, falling gold prices. Higher yields make interest-bearing assets like bonds more attractive. Remember, I said that. More attractive relative to gold, which pays no interest. So remember, like we were saying, when you are investing in bonds, you get paid back in interest by the time the 2-year, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year is due. But when you're investing in gold, nobody's paying you in interest. You just getting paid off of wherever price goes if you're in a buy or if uh if you're trading it versus if you're holding physical gold. So now if like I said, interest rates are rising, you're gonna see a lot of money move from gold to the bonds because now bonds is gonna pay investors more. So when we're looking over here and we see that since 2025, we basically been around here a few times and we also were at 106. It doesn't really matter much until interest rates go up because right now we've been at a steady 5.5, I believe. Let me go and check and see where Bank of Canada. Oh, snap. Wow. By the end of the month, we got federal funds rates. And we was, yeah, 4.5, my bad. We've been at a steady 4.5 since December 18th of 2024. We basically going through the full year with 4.5. Now, are interest rates gonna rise by the end of the month? I don't know. Um, are we going to finally see Jerome Powell and his people pretty much decide that we're gonna go down at least 0.5%? Hey, that would be a good look for him, and that'll probably put some less pressure and tension on his term because like by next year in May, his term will end. And if he does play ball just a little bit, I don't know what that's gonna mean for his legacy because but lowering interest rates just a tad bit is not a bad look for anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like economy is tough. Yes, it's getting a lot more stable. But if we went, for example, from 4.5 to 4.0, I don't think anybody would be super mad. They'd be like, hey, it ain't 2% now. It ain't 1%. But no one's gonna tell Jerome, yo, bro, come on, man. Like you ain't lowered the interest rates at all, and this, that, and the third.
Coach, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And I've seen a article. They talk about they say Trump might fire John Powell. He say he would like to get someone that could cut the interest rate by 300 points. I mean, is it possible to get interest rate for 300 points and like mess up the economy?
Yeah. Mean like 3%, right?
Yeah, I think that's too much. The biggest interest rate cut in the US, it was for the COVID 2020 was 100 point.
Yeah. The during COVID, they dropped it down to zero.
That cut, huh?
During COVID, they dropped
So
down interest rates to zero.
I mean, can you do it like so quick?
Only during times of uncertainty and a market shock. Like if there's like a very important need, then they'll do that. Like when there's a black swan situation where there's like outbreak, the way it happened. Like this is why back in 2020, March 20th, 2020, we dropped down to 0.25. 0.25. And then we kept it until May 2022. Actually, no, March 2022, we went to 0.50, 1%. And we went all the way up to 5.5, and now we're at 4.50. So we can tell Jerome has been doing a great job at like decreasing it gradually. And so
Yeah.
to answer your question, that's how it's supposed to be done. It's not supposed to be drastically changed just to satisfy people. Um, there's a lot of metrics that go into it. So just bringing it down to 1% all of a sudden, it definitely nothing that has drastic changes doesn't come with a lot of repercussions with the economy. And the way they print money, the way they want interest rates to benefit us, it doesn't just quickly benefit when there's too much money being printed. Then the value of the dollar just becomes overinflated and prices skyrocket as well. And we saw that in 2020 and 2021, especially down in South Florida. Houses went crazy, interest rates dropped, and a lot of people who were cash ready, they were buying like crazy. Institutions took full advantage. They were just buying everything. And that's why, like, these sharks, these super rich guys that already understand the system, if the interest rates were to drop super fast, it's not going to benefit the economy. It's going to benefit the capitalists because then they're going to start buying everything and not giving a fair chance.
Yeah, but I was wondering about that because he's talking about prices going down, but he want to cutting the interest rate. I mean, how it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't, bro.
But I think if they really cut the interest rate, the US is going full bullish. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. If we cut the interest rates the right way, I think that's going to help a lot of things, even crypto. But also, even with crypto, it's not just about interest rates, it's about policies, integrations, and full emergence of banks and institutions that can accept transactions in a very smooth, safe way. And I think we're moving towards that. Then within the next 5 years, the price of crypto is definitely going to be looking good. It's already starting to move toward that direction. That's why, like, even with myself, I've been saying, yo, I need to open up my eyes, broaden my perspectives, and start seeing life from a 5, 10, 15, 20-year perspective, which as a young investor and entrepreneur, that's not something we were used to. Like we were used to surviving day by day. We're used to trading to perform for the week and a month. But now it's about, hey, we saw what happened between 2020 and 2025. We saw what happened between 2017, 26, 2015 to 2017. We saw how price needed 3 years to move. And every time we see things getting more popular, it'll be more manipulated. So the earlier, the better, because once they blow up, they blow up. Once they're 300% in profit and you're like, damn, okay, okay, now should I get in? It's already kind of tough to get in. So do your research, study, do the best that you can, you know? Now, um, I think that's it for me. Um, I believe following up with the markets tomorrow makes sense. So we can see if they're still sticking to the script. So far, the only thing that's moving in the right direction is gold. I hope it continues to do that. And yeah, any other pairs you guys are looking at? I know some people are GBP AUD fanatics. I haven't traded that pair in a long time. This pair looks like they made it to the demand. And now they're giving us the classic 4 hour structure internal buy back to the supply. So for those y'all who trade GA, there you go. I know some of y'all also trade Euro AUD. Oh, that looks nasty. But structure looks bullish. Structure looks bullish. Okay. NAS bullish. But if you're looking for an opportunity, you gotta wait on structure to give you a good entry. So those entries are pre-market retests, previous day retests, previous week retest, the sweep of London and New York. These are some of the best trades you want to catch. Or the 4 hour structure reversals. Market makes it to 4 hour structure. That is usually the best time to catch like a really nice entry, even if it's on a challenge or whatever the case is. You put a little give it a little breathing room, and then you can scale positions, and you know you have the whole entire session and the next session typically to capitalize off the movements, even if it's retracing. Still gonna buy. Still gonna buy. By the afternoon, you notice sometimes they pull back by like 2 p.m. and such, but they're gonna continue. Like you see it push, okay, by 1 or 2, and you see them continue. So all these things you gotta really pay attention to these behaviors so y'all can make the best decisions and also hold for the right reasons. All right. And that's it for me. Anybody got any questions?
USDJP above HF and
Okay. UJ, UJ been confusing me. But one thing that one thing that I can say is it's not it's not it's not 100% selling. It's just find yourself areas of demand once it sells so you can buy. UJ is buying because the Japanese yen is bearish. And the dollar is not so not so bullish, but it's more like UJ and EJ just they keep buying. They keep buying and buying and buying and buying, all because the Japanese yen is bearish. GJ, UJ, but it's like with GJ, you just gotta catch your demands on retracements to really benefit and have a good time and have some enjoyment with it. But if you're planning on holding, you gotta close your partials at the top. So with UJ, I think if price comes down into this rejection area, which it will, into the rejection area from last week, we get there, I think that'll be a solid area to get in for buys.
Okay. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, we'll check in with that.
Yeah.
Not forget. All right. Okay. I think we're pretty good to go.
Good, bro.
Yeah. Y'all have a great rest of your evening, guys.
You too, bro. Thanks for
Yeah.
showing up.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Peace, love, and blessings. We'll talk.
Peace, bro.
All right, Hans. See you in the chat.
Of course.
Night.
Good night, guys.